Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a while, but we are back with a new video. Today we're going to be looking at formulas in Salesforce's Flow Builder. These formulas can be used for validation rules and other things, but specifically we're looking at if statements, a case function, and using a Boolean formula to calculate when certain values are true or false. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'm putting out new Salesforce content all the time. And let's just jump into this video. All right, I am in my sandbox org as always, and today I have a just kind of a flow that I threw together previously, and I'm going to be using it today. So what I've done is I've created some formula resources in my flow that we're going to be taking a look at. So the first thing we're going to be looking at is the if statement. This is a pretty powerful tool that you can use. I happen to have a nested if statement created. So for all three scenarios that we're going to be looking at today, the idea behind it is if the rating on an account is either hot, warm, or cold, I'm going to want to populate something in the description value down here. So the formula I've created is a nested if statement. So if the get account rating pick list value is hot, then I want it to populate output this account is hot. If it's not hot, then if it's warm, I want to have it populate this account is warm, and then so on for the cold. Now you can see I've got these nested if statements, and to me, this is probably not the prettiest way to do this. I try to avoid nested if statements if at all possible, because especially if you have more than 3 or 4 values, you get to around 6, 7, 8 values, it gets more and more complex, harder to read and just maintain in general. Now, the way this would work in your flow is you could figure the value up, and then in your next update element, you could select in here the description. I'm just going to add it real quick. You can do description equals, and I'll just type if statement, and then since description is a long text field, this is a text formula. I'm able to set that value based on the rating every time this runs. And this could be for a record trigger flow or a screen flow. I'm doing this on a screen flow so I can do a demo of this at the end. It's a little easier that way. But going back over here, you know, the way you get to the if statement, if you're a newer admin or you're just trying to learn, you can go into the function section and just type if, and it'll pop up here. And it's if your logical test, which is get account rating equals hot, and then you would put a comma, the value if true, and then you put a value if false. But for the value is false, you're just going to nest another if statement in there and keep going until you account for all the values you want to come up with. In this case, it's just 3. And then once you're done with that last one, you put a comma, and then you just put quotations in there at the end, and then make sure you close out all of it with close parentheses. Now, a better way of doing this, in my opinion, is the case function. Now, to be honest with you, I hadn't used the case function very much until about 8 months ago, whenever I started using it more frequently. Let me show that to you. This is what the case function looks like, and I'm just going to go into the function setting and type case, and this is what it looks like. So case is not the case object. Case is the function name. It's easy to confuse. So if the get account rating, comma, is hot, then I want to assign the value of this account as hot. If it's warm, you're going to assign the value of this account as warm. Cold, this account is cold. And it's a lot easier than using those nested if statements. This is a really powerful function. I mean, especially if you have multiple values you're wanting to assign at one time when it comes in, then this is a great way of doing that. You can look right here and see that case, the expression, and then you just value result, and this is what it looks like here. And then there's an else result. So if none of it matches, you might want to export something or have it output something like no matches were found, or I don't know, whatever value you would want to use. and you can set those values here. I use this instead of nested if statements. One, it's easier to maintain. Two, it's just easier to read. And the third thing we're looking at right now is just a Boolean formula. Now, this one's a little bit different. I like this for a few different reasons, but we've set up a Boolean formula of data type Boolean. Oh, and the case statement is text statement data type, text data type. But anyway, back to this. This is a Boolean formula, so it's going to evaluate to true or false. So let's just say that I only want this formula to evaluate to true if it's hot or warm. Then an or statement is perfect because it's just checking the value and it either needs to be hot or warm. Now, why would you use this? I use these in my real world applications for when I need to make a decision, use it in a decision element. So for example, for this is triggered off an account, right? Let's just say the account is coming through and it is a rating of hot. Well, I might want to branch off over here and I might want to have a decision element added in and send an email for when an account is hot or warm. Well, by using a Boolean formula, I can quickly look and use that formula in my decision element and have it branch over. That's a really powerful tool because maybe I don't want anything to happen when it's cold. And just kind of what it looks like quick and easy here. You can come down and I'm just going to type Boolean, and if Boolean equals true, then I want it to go over to the yes path, otherwise no. And I know this formula only evaluates the true if the rating is hot or cold. From there, I would be able to do anything I want. Maybe I want it to go update a separate record entirely, create a new record, send an email, maybe have an additional screen for the user, then that's what I would do right there. And it's really powerful tool. Now, to show you kind of what this looks like, I'm going to refresh my tab real quick, get rid of all the things I did in here. And we're going to run this in debug mode so I can show you what it does. So this is a really old sandbox that doesn't even have the reactive screen components in it. So we'll just save it every time so that we can look at it. But I'm going to run this real quick. Let me drag this down. So I put all my formulas in a long text area so that you can see it pretty easily. So the rating is cold. So if statement formula, this account is cold. The case formula, it outputs this account is cold. And the Boolean formula is false, which is what we would expect, right? It's not hot or warm. I'm just going to go ahead and change this to warm. I'm going to hit next. I'm going to run this again. And as you can see, it updated it to warm. And this account is warm in both of these. And now this is true. And let's do the last one, hot. Run that again. There we go. The count is hot for both, and the Boolean statement is true. The main reason I wanted to make this video is recently over the past, I don't know, probably year, I've seen more and more flows, especially that other admin are building, whether that's online and or IRL. And what I'm seeing is a lot of nested if statements or just really bulky formulas that are hard to read. And I wanted to draw awareness to maybe some other types of formulas you could use or different ways of thinking about how to solve for scenarios. So if you're solving for a scenario where an action happens on an object, let's just use account because that's what I'm using, and you're wanting to send an email based on criteria, multiple criteria maybe, decision elements are a great tool, as you know, and you can build out a lot of checks in here, but sometimes it's a little easier to build in a formula that evaluates the true or false. And I like to do that, especially if it's a complex scenario, versus trying to do it all in the decision element, line item by line item. It's a little easier to maintain. But I want to get away from nested if statements if I can keep from it because they're hard to maintain and there's just easier ways of doing it. I hope you found this video informative, talking about different formula types you can use in your flow builder. I know this is a quicker video, but make sure to give it a like if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video.